Hi everyone, this is Terry. Recently I saw a person creating key fobs using another brand of software, and I thought I would like to try to make some with PE Design 11. Now you can buy key fob designs off the internet, but isn't it nice to be able to create your own? And let me show you how quickly you can do that. I'll choose File New. And what I want to do is choose shapes. I'll choose this little flower shape. I want to be in inches, and I have roughly a 1/2 inch as a guide. I'd like to have some guidelines on here, so I'm clicking the guidelines so that I know that I have roughly 2 inches. That's how wide I want my flower to be. And I want it to be approximately about 2 inches wide as well. So what I'm doing is looking at my ruler on the top. I could have drawn guidelines for that as well. I'll release, and then I'll just go ahead and move this a little bit. You can center it on your screen if you want. The reason I'm moving it is so that I can use this line right here. I need to rotate it, and you'll understand why in just a moment. I need to have my strap come off of this petal, so I can rotate this around to choose the petal that I want. For instance, if I like this petal more for the shape, I can use that. However, I preferred what I had a moment ago, so I'll return back. Now what I want to do is to choose shapes. I'll choose this rectangular shape that has round edges. I'll change the color to red so we have a little bit of difference between the color. And I want to start drawing this shape inside, and I'll explain why in just a moment. I'm making this about a 1/2 inch, and you'll understand why I'm making it so small in a moment. And you can see that what I'm trying to do is to have a clean transition as it comes off from the flower petal onto this shape that's somewhat like a popsicle stick. Now what I want to do is to select everything. I can press the Control-A key, or I can choose Select All, or I can select them both and click the selection tool. I press the Control-A key. The next thing I want to do is go back to the home menu and select the applique wizard. Now what I want to do is to create an applique around this shape. So what I want to do is to make sure I have add, and I'll explain this after I create the key fob and explain to you why I chose that. I don't need a tack down stitch for what I'm doing because I plan to make this key fob on vinyl. In fact, I intend to have vinyl on the back as well. And then what I'll do is have the same thread in the top and the bottom, so or bobbin, so that I have a finished design. I'll choose OK. All right, you can see now I have a singular applique around this. I don't need the actual applique stitch, so I'll select it, and once it's selected, I'll go to Home and choose Delete. I could also press Delete on my keyboard. I no longer need these top two shapes, but one thing I want to do is I want to mention that when I created this applique, you can see that it is created outside of the edge of this design. If you wanted to reshape your applique at this time, what you can do is drag the selection handles if you want it to be closer to the original. I'm satisfied with what I have. I want to recolor this stitch, and by selecting a red, and then I also want to recolor this stitch by selecting another color. I'll choose blue. I don't need those first 2 stitches any longer. They were just used so I could create that applique. So I'll select them and press the delete key on my keyboard. So now I have this shape, and let me tell you why I have 2 shapes. Depending on how you're wanting to make this, if you wanted to use a cutting machine, what you could do is with this first line, you can select it and you can go to scan and cut, and you can export, and you can set an offset around it. So if I move this out, let's say I want that offset to be about a 1/16 of an inch, I can save this as an FCM file and give it a name. I've already saved this for myself, and in my case what I'm going to do is cut 2 pieces of vinyl. I happen to have a luminaire and a dream machine, so I can use a projection to project this design, to place it on the top, and to glue it down on my stabilizer, which is going to be a tearaway stabilizer. I would turn over my hoop, and I would use some tape, or I can use a glue stick and glue it to the bottom of my hoop as well. If you are going to do this as a raw edge applique, you don't need this first stitch, so you would just delete it. So we would press delete after we select it and press the delete key. You now have the singular stitch, but in my case what I want to do is I want to go to the sewing attributes, and I want to change over to millimeters, make this 3 millimeters, and I want to have the run time of 2. And I'm choosing that because if I'm stitching this on vinyl, I don't want to have a closed stitch. And if I was stitching this on denim and I use a contrasting fabric, I'd like to see those stitches. Okay, the next step was to choose text. We'll choose the text tool, and I want to use this Brussels demi outline text. I'll click on the screen and type the letter I want, which is a T, and now I'll use the selection and select it. I'll make it a little bit larger, and I want to rotate it. There we go. Okay, now what I want to do is, while it's selected, I want to move it in position. So I'll just move it here. And in this case, I'm looking to center it somewhere within that flower pattern. And that's how quickly I can create this applique. I'll very quickly recreate this. I'm not going to worry about the colors of this so much. I just want to show you how quickly that I can create this key fob while I'm talking to you. Okay, if I had created it this way and I had selected all the objects and I went to the applique wizard, and if I chose replace, you're going to end up with this. And if you notice, I have these stitches here that I have to contend with. I can do that, but in order to do that, I'm going to have to convert these shapes to stitches and edit stitches out using connection tools and everything I've shown you in some of my stitches videos, and I didn't want to go to that trouble. So for this reason, I did not choose replace in the applique wizard. And I hope this has been helpful to you. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe. Please share my videos with your friends, and particularly those people who are considering purchasing PE Design 11. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.